3-1. Northern Gaming Black beating Soar Gaming 3-0, so they advanced as well. Team Method beating Team Jennings 3-2, very close games, as well as 2 Reds beating Northern Gaming Red. So those are the teams that advanced, and of course all the teams that lost will be playing in the round of 11, losers round of 11.
Yeah, definitely. They're not actually shown on this bracket, but there are games upcoming. In fact, the first couple games we're going to be playing will be feeding into those losers quarterfinals that you can see on the right side over there, and that of course will be Northern Gaming Red versus Team Jennings. And following that will be Caesars.
Does have that Mage Boomkin Paladin comp available, and that is what they are going to be running today. Teams Jennings, of course, going to be running that DK Feral Paladin, running in immediately, actually. Velito taking a little bit of damage right off the gate. Cubsy actually getting stranged as well as stunned. So he's going to be taking a little damage, popping that Aura Mastery, getting some heals onto himself, and he's going to be okay throughout this opener.
Yeah, Cubsy now caught into a full Fist of Justice, though. That's locking him down for quite some time. He does have his Save by the Light proc, but it's just so much damage. He's going to have to go ahead and use his Divine Shield early on, and that's very, very important for Team Jennings with their composition. They need to be able to force out cooldowns from Northern Gaming Red as much as possible, and they got several of them there off of Cubsy.
Yeah, it's going to be all about Velito and Sykesy rotating onto Cubsy, as well as Wong pushing in and getting those clutch hodges. Very, very important, and eventually Cubsy will run out of cooldowns. It's going to be up to him throughout this game to rotate his cooldowns appropriately. Asper and Samayam, of course, having to spam out those defensive crowd controls, Polymorph as well as Cyclone as much as they can to slow down the damage. Asper actually using his Celestial Alignment. Doesn't look like they're able to get too much done. Incarnation as well, Berserk about to fade from Sykesy, so that was his major cooldowns. Cubsy going to go ahead and throw out another bop. He has 1 bop left. Stoneform's going to be up in 10 seconds, and those are the only cooldowns he really has left.
Yeah, no trinket for quite some time. Wong used his trinket a little bit earlier too, but it's going to be up in about a minute. So Team Jennings, if they can keep up this pressure, might actually be able to pull out a win here. Of course, Sykesy now caught into that full Fist of Justice. He's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Wong's going to reply by using his Divine Shield to be able to force out some healing. There's the execution sentence coming out on Sykesy as well. So now they're going to turn it back around. Cubsy caught in that Fist of Justice. Now the Strangulate, he's going to have to pop his Avenging Wrath. It's going to increase his healing fairly dramatically, also using his Stone Form there. And that's the last... So no, excuse me, he does have 1 Blessing of Protection available, so he will have that cooldown available. But if Team Jennings keeps up this pressure, it might not even matter.
Yeah, Cubsy needs to get away down to 30% HP, trying to kite the best he can. 10% HP, 2% HP, can't get any healings on himself, and he does go down. That was such a close game. If Cubsy was able to escape right there, Team Jennings was in a lot of trouble. Wong, Sykesy, Velito had no cooldowns left. That was their last chance, and they did it. They pulled through in sort of an upset, I feel.
Yeah, it's definitely surprising. A lot of times we think, like we look at R now in the game, the gates will be opening in about 10 seconds. This is going to be game 2 between Northern Gaming Red and Team Jennings. Of course, this is a lower bracket series, so whoever loses this overall series will be eliminated from this this first qualifier cup. They will have the opportunity to attempt to qualify in later cups as well, so they're not out of it entirely. But Velito actually just going hard right off the bat, and actually going to end up having to use his AMS already, possibly actually trying to bait that out. He got a whole bunch of runic power out of that.
Oh, that's such a good opener for Northern Gaming Red. They got the Root Beam immediately onto Wong. Velito already forced a little bit defensive, finally able to connect on a Cubsy who gets hodged up at the moment. I believe he already got stranged. He used Aura Mastery on that as well, but this time is a lot better for him. His Save of the Light didn't proc, he didn't have to bubble, so already a much better opener. Stampeding Roar coming out from Asper, so he's able to easily cross the map, and this is the distance we were talking about. It's going to be very hard for Velito and Sykesy to actually reconnect onto Cubsy with this positioning. Yeah,
and Samayam was actually doing a great job. He kept Velito locked down with that Polymorph for the entirety of his Pillar of Frost, and now Wong actually having to use his Divine Shield just to keep some healing out onto Sykesy. Sykesy is just under so much pressure right now. They're trying to keep the damage up on Cubsy, but he's just going to go ahead and use a Blessing of Protection along with his Avenging Wrath. Those are the first couple of cooldowns he's had to use the entire game. Northern Gaming Red is just looking so strong right now.
Yeah, Wong actually has no defensive cooldowns left. He does have his Avenging Wrath, but he has no Trinket and no Bubble. Sykesy in a lot of trouble right now. He does have 1 charge left of Survival Instincts. He might have to use it here. Wong just getting spam CC'd over and over. The DR Polymorph going to be coming in from Samayam onto Wong. Sykesy in a lot of trouble. Wong has no way to get out of this. They can follow up the CC chain. That is the Frost Shot. Aura Mastery coming out, gets deeped on it, and Sykesy is going to go down, and that was just a non-stop, endless CC chain, and Northern Gaming Red did exactly what they said. They created that distance. They immediately started off with that pressure, and it was just such a nightmare for Wong, Sykesy, and Velito to get any sort of pressure that game.
Yeah, basically, as soon as Wong's Trinket was on cooldown, that was it. Like, as soon as his Trinket and his Divine Shield, I should say, as soon as they were on cooldown, that was the end of it, because the same compositions locked in once again. Of course, that's going to be Northern Gaming Red on the right side of your screen with Samayam playing Mage, Asper playing Boom Moonkin, and Cubsy playing the Holy Paladin. Then Team Jennings has got Sykesy on the Feral Druid, Velidu on the Death Knight, and then Wong playing that Holy Paladin as well. Got about 20 seconds here that this match is going to be opening. Excuse me, the doors are going to be opening, and this match will be getting underway.
Yep. Of course, this is Team Jennings' map pick. The series is tied 1-1 right now. Both of these teams, of course, trying to get to 3 as fast as possible. We're going to have to see if the same thing happens, where Northern Gaming Red can sort of deny the opener of Team Jennings, or if they'll be able to reconnect onto Cubsy immediately and start forcing out those cooldowns.
Yep, so here we go. Looks like Velidu wants to get right in there. He wants to be super aggressive. We'll probably see his anti-magic shell coming out here very shortly, help him build up some of that runic power, and there it is coming out. They did manage to get a beam down onto, looked like it was onto Wong. I'm actually not sure who that beam was on just a second ago, but that sort of forced them to get a little bit more aggressive here. Now, Sykesy caught into that Fist of Justice. He's caught in cap form. He could just go down right here, but no, Wong is going to be able to get out of CC for just a second. He had to use his trinket there, and now without that trinket available, that's just such bad news for Team Jennings right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Cubsy now finally being connected to the full maim coming out onto him. Divine Protection is popped. He hasn't used any other defensive cooldowns, hovering around 45% HP. Going to have to use his Aura Mastery. Sample the Light proccing on him as well. So Velido as well as Sykesy able to force some cooldowns onto Cubsy. Of course, Sykesy still has his Incarnation as well as his Berserk, so they do have those crazy offensive cooldowns for when they need them. Cubsy's still trying his best to get away. Gets the Stampeding Roar as well as the Freedom. He's going to be behind the pillar, spamming out those heals on himself, getting the shields up. As we're getting swapped to, though, Bob coming out from Cubsy onto him immediately, as well as Barkskin having to be popped. So the Velido and Sykesy switching up their strategy a little bit, able to damage Asper as well as Cubsy.
Yeah, I think they're actually trying to play a little bit more defensive right now, just so that Wong can sort of hang on to his bubble for as long as possible. He's now caught into that root solar beam, which is going to restrict his ability to cast any spells, but that is going to wear off. He's going to be able to get out of there, and now it looks like Velido and Sykesy are going hard onto Cubsy again. Now, they've actually now forced out the Divine Shield from Cubsy, so that's actually now more cooldowns out for Northern Gaming, but that is going to, the follow-up pressure onto Sykesy is going to force out the Divine Shield from Wong. He's got 45 seconds left on his trinket, so that means that he's very, very susceptible to any form of crowd control for the next about now 36 seconds.
Yeah, Cubsy actually caught into a full Hodge. He has no response for this. He can't bop himself out of it, so now that he's finally out of it, he does have bop available. He's going to have that Stone Form as well for when the Strangulate comes in from Velido. Asper's still taking a lot of damage, though. Cubsy trying his best to get the heals out, but now Team Jennings is in a situation where they have no more defensive cooldowns. Wong's trinket is up in 18 seconds. They need to hold on that long. Once Wong has his trinket, they can get aggressive again, because he'll be able to actually get out those heals. Strangulate is up for Velido. Cubsy, of course, going to be saving his Stone Form for that. Both teams sort of at a standstill at the moment. Velido taking a little bit of damage. Asper and Sam I am just making it very difficult for them to reconnect onto Cubsy, but Asper taking a lot of damage. Actually, the Barkskin coming out from him, down to 30% HP. Save with the Light Proc, and Cubsy caught into that full Hodge. The Strangulate coming in. Stone Form immediately coming out. Asper trying his best to get away. Actually, a weird little grip thing went on there. Asper went to Cubsy. Cubsy went right to Velido, so they're trying to get pressure onto everyone. Sykesy now caught into the full Hodge, though. Save with the Light Proc on him, down to 20% HP. Survival Instinct comes out. Wong actually using his trinket and immediately getting Cyclone on that. Sykesy needs to do his best to get away. His Nature's Vigil is up. He's going to be healing himself a little bit from that. Cubsy's mana not looking good, though. Still 2 minutes away from dampening, already down to 20% mana. Yeah,
Team Jennings is actually doing a great job sort of clawing their way back in here. They are once again in trouble because Wong does not have his trinket or his Divine Shield available. Velido actually dripped really low there for just a second. The AMS comes out, but is it going to be enough? He's going to just be taking chunks of damage right now from Asper with those Star Surges coming in as well. He's dipping super low and going to actually have to get over here out of line of sight. Does Wong even have the healing to keep him up through all of this damage? He's dipping so low, but it looks like he is going to be able to stabilize at this point. They're going to try and turn it around onto Samaya, maybe try to get an Ice Block out from him, unless he's running. I actually didn't see if he was running Evanescence or not. I wouldn't expect him to be, but maybe. You never know at this point. But Samayam is going to be just fine for the time being, and now they're turning it back around again onto Wong. There's that Polymorph coming out. He's going to get the follow-up Polymorph and that Frost Jaw, but they just don't have the follow-up pressure onto Velidu or Sykesy right now to actually make use of that. Yeah, this is not a spot you want to be in as Team Jennings. You have to play super defensive. Asper actually has his Celestial alignment. Samayam just did use his Icy Vein, so he's not going to have that offensive cooldown, but they need to be horrified of Asper's Celestial alignment. Wong, of course, does have his Avenging Wrath, but if he's crowd controlled, he's not going to be able to get too much use out of
that. So I suspect that Team Jennings is going to play a very defensive game until Wong's trinket comes up, but it doesn't look like Northern Gaming Red is going to allow that. Wong immediately caught into that full polymorph. Sykesy dangerously low right now. Celestial Alignment has been popped by Asper, but Asper taking a lot of damage too. Actually using his Barkskin. Ore Mastery coming up from Cubsy, trying to do the best he can to keep him up. Everyone on Northern Gaming Red is dangerously low. Asper down to 9% HP, 2% HP. Cubsy's wings comes out, but it's not enough, and Asper is going to go down. Team Jennings taking the third game of this series, up 2-1 now. It's got to be a very good position to be in as Team Jennings.
Yeah, what a great series to start the day off with. This is back and forth, and it is not going at all how I expected. It actually looked like at that last push there was a moment like we were watching Wong, and he got caught into the deep freeze, caught into the polymorph, and then the follow-up polymorph just didn't land. He got interrupted on it, or just he missed it or something. I'm not sure what exactly caused that. I kind of missed that point. But as soon as that follow-up polymorph didn't, and there we are.
Once again, I think it's going to come down to the opener, but as we saw last game, Team Jennings was able to play sort of a defensive game at some point in that game. It worked out very well for them. Wong immediately caught into that root beam. Valito having to use his AMS immediately. Cubsy getting strangulated, deciding not to use his Ore Mastery. Asper's just going to have that Blessing of Sacrifice on himself as well as that Barkskin. So looks like a little bit of a different tactic coming up from Team Jennings. They are going to be focusing on rushing down Asper. Asper's Barkskin is going to be fading. Cubsy's still in that Hodge, has all his defensive cooldowns available if he needs them. Might be popping his wings out of this to try to get some more healing out. Wong caught into a Cyclone right now as well, has all his defensive cooldowns wings up for him right now, but he's not able to get too much use out of it, although his entire team is topped. Sykesy still hasn't used his Incarnation or Berserk, so they do have those cooldowns available as well.
Yeah, it's nice that they're hanging out of those cooldowns. They're just looking for a good opportunity because Northern Gaming has been doing a great job so far just disrupting everything as much as possible and making sure that that Team Jennings doesn't have an opportunity to really go as hard as they want to. But now the Berserk and the Incarnation are coming out from Sykesy, and he's just trying to put out, and this is exactly what I was saying just a second ago, Sykesy, excuse me, is just having a hard time really even connecting on everything. Northern Gaming doing a great job of just keeping him slowed, keeping him crowd controlled. Like he can shift out of those slows, but if he's just spending all of his time shifting out of slows, he's not actually doing anything else. So they've done a great job. Now he finally gets a chance to connect onto Cubsy and put a little bit of damage into him. There's the Strangulate. He's going to get, actually not sure how that Strangulate came off of him. That was very quick that it came off of him right there. Cubsy able to get a couple of heals onto himself. Must have been his Aura Mastery or something, and I just missed him actually casting it.
Yeah, so he did use his Aura Mastery there. He does have his Trinket, his Bubble, his Stone Form, as well as that Hand of Protection left for him. So Cubsy sitting very pretty at the moment. Asper does have his Barkskin up. Still has Celestial Alignment as well. Wong only really having his PvP Trinket available. Syksy's worked through all his defensive cooldowns. Cubsy taking a little bit of damage right now, but he does have a lot of cooldowns to work through. Save of the Light, of course, not going to be available for him, but he's able to sort of maintain himself. Gets the freedom, gets away. Valito actually gripping him back. Very nice grip by him before he gets out of line of sight, but Cubsy able to get out some heals. The Word of Glory coming out onto him. He's going to be able to spam heals on himself, and Valito having a very hard time reconnecting.
Yeah, I feel like Team Jennings has to start playing it a lot safer right now. They just don't have the cooldowns available to really afford to go in too hard right now. They're trying to go after Cubsy, though, getting super aggressive right now. Cubsy's still, he did actually use his Trinket right there, but he does still have his Divine Shield available if he needs it, but the counter pressure
Syksy's in a lot of trouble. Yeah, the Hodge going out onto him right now. Wong caught into CC, and Syksy's going to get exploded and goes down. I think that was the Celestial Alignment coming out from Asper, or he had just used it. Just too much pressure coming out from Northern Gaming Red, but they're going to be able to tie up the series 2-2. And now it is Team Jennings' map pick, and that is the advantage of winning the first game, is going into the fifth and final game, they get to select the map that they want.
Yeah, and I feel like we're absolutely going to see Ruins of Lordaeron as their map pick here. They're not going to... I mean, they could go Blade's Edge. There's an argument to make for Blade's Edge, but I think that Ruins of Lordaeron is just a much more straightforward choice for them. In this situation. It's a much closer map. It's a little bit more open than maybe they would like. We were talking about that earlier, in that it's going to leave Wong a little bit more. That Feral Death Knight and Paladin once again for Team Jennings. They're not going for the Windwalker Monk. It's Game 5, so I'm a little bit sad about that. Not going to see the Windwalker Monk. But if they do win this series, they will be moving on in the tournament. Of course, this is Game 5. This is match point. And whichever team loses this match will be eliminated from the first qualifier.
Yep. And, of course, both teams feeling the pressure right now. Both of them are going to have to play well, and we'll have to see if any of them make mistakes. Hopefully not. I mean, these teams have been playing tournaments quite a bit. They're all very, very used to this sort of pressure.
At this level of play, though, it really just does come down to even the slightest mistake. Like one little thing, you mistime one crowd control, you miscast one spell, like one CC goes out on the wrong target, one cooldown is used when really it should have been, like, you should have been fine. Like, those are the sorts of things that really make the difference in these matches. So here we go, Velodu just getting aggressive right away, as he's been every single time, going straight onto Samayam. It looks like he's trying to get over to Asper. Maybe actually they're going all the way into the starting zone here, just trying to get onto Cubsy. He's caught in that Fist of Justice. They're putting a ton of damage into him already, but so far Cubsy not using anything there. He finally comes out of that CC with his Aura Mastery, and he's able to get his wings out as well as his execution sentence. So Cubsy should be totally fine at this point, and now they're going to try to turn it back around here very shortly onto Team Jennings.
Yeah, absolutely. Sykesy actually caught into a full Hodge right now, taking a lot of damage. Survival Instincts is going to be coming out from him. Wong caught into that full Cyclone. Only has his bubble available. Already used his wings, already used his trinket. Cubsy doing a great job kiting right now. Gets that freedom, gets away. It's going to be very hard for Valido and Sykesy to reconnect. Wong actually having to use his bubble as well. Sykesy in a little bit of trouble. It does have one more charge of Survival Instincts as well as his trinket, so he might be able to get away the next time Wong is fully CC'd, but he might have to run at this point. The Deep Freeze goes out onto Wong. No follow-up CC is going to be available. Cubsy, though, taking a lot of damage. Actually having to use his bubble. Very well done bubble. His Saber of the Light didn't proc, so he wasn't overlapping those cooldowns, which is extremely well done. Wong now caught into the full Polymorph. Sykesy into the bash. Has the Survival Instincts up, but for how much longer? Down to 40% HP, trying to get away. The Root Beam coming out onto Sykesy, actually. Full clone onto Wong, and that is going to be the game. Sykesy just couldn't get away. Too much CC coming out from Northern Gaming Red. Too much damage. Then Team Jennings is going to lose this game. Northern Gaming Red advances.
Yep, and that means Team Jennings will be eliminated from the Qualifier Cup. But of course, this is just the first of 3 Qualifier Cups. They will have 2 more chances ahead of them to be able to qualify in future Cups. So GG's all around. Like that